Good afternoon and welcome to NQ Live. I'm Lewis Oxley and here are today's headlines. Bolton Hospital to open a new COVID ward after a spike in cases. Modern slavery, cause for concern in Greater Manchester. And the Pride of Manchester Awards take place tonight in recognition of local heroes. But first, Bolton Hospital has opened a new COVID ward to deal with the increase in demand. From what we know so far, the main groups of patients are young people who have not been vaccinated yet. The infection rate amongst teenagers aged between 10 and 14 years is above 1,200 cases per 100,000, while the transmission rate amongst people over 80 has dropped to zero. At the height of the pandemic, Bolton Hospital had 6 COVID wards, but in early May only one was left open as case numbers went down to single digits. The opening of the ward comes just after the government updated its guidance on some regions, including Bolton, to fight the spread of the Indian variant. People are advised to meet outdoors and minimise travel to and from the area. Greater Manchester Police have rescued 26 victims of modern slavery during raids at 15 properties this week. Our reporter Harry Hansen has been looking into this and joins me in the studio today. Hi Harry, what can you tell me about these raids?
So, Greater Manchester Police have been performing raids across the region this week in a tackle down on what is known as modern slavery. So, modern slavery is a term that is used for people who are often coerced into a job that is not properly paid or sometimes not paid at all. And subjects them to really poor conditions and sometimes abuse. These jobs are often advertised as proper employment to vulnerable people, or sometimes gangs may even enter and take over a home, making the people there work for them for little or no pay. These raids have been happening on properties across Manchester this week to find people in these situations and safeguard them. And GMP have safeguarded a total of 26 people in the last week alone from 15 different properties. This number includes a toddler and 25 men and women who are now being given the proper police protection.
And what exactly is happening at these properties?
So these properties are being used by groups who are known as County Lines drug gangs. GMP are always working with the National Crime Agency on cracking down on these gangs, and they are basically groups who operate in major cities like Manchester and traffic drugs to smaller rural areas across the country using a system of dedicated phone lines. So this leads to quieter rural areas and like seaside towns in particular becoming overwhelmed with drug activity, and this often leads to a lot of gang violence in these areas. So it's common for these gangs to exploit vulnerable people, which is where the modern slavery comes into it, and this is really what the police are attempting to crack down on at the moment.
And was there any other illegal activity uncovered during these raids?
Well, yes, despite the main aim of the raids being to uncover and safeguard these vulnerable people, the police of course uncovered a lot of other activity by these groups. So they seized a huge number of drugs, £7,000 worth of Class A substances, including heroin and ecstasy, and 3.5 kilograms of Class B substances, which includes things like cannabis. As well as this, they seized more than £110,000 in cash and 17 vehicles, which were being used to distribute drugs across the region.
What will happen going forward?
So GMP will continue to work with the National Crime Agency to crack down on both drug activity and modern slavery across Manchester, and they are particularly concerned for younger people and children who may be being coerced into this kind of work, and the police do ask people to contact them if they see children who seem to be in danger, and of course a full rundown of the telltale signs of this is available on the Children's Society website, and GMP will be holding a Q&A session on the 5th of June, and details of that can be found on GMP's Facebook page.
Thank you for joining me, Harry. The Cheetham School of Music has found itself in hot water after a historic sexual abuse scandal cost them over £40,000. Rory Gannon has the story.
A High Court judge has ruled that a student who attended the Cheetham School of Music is to receive £45,000 after being sexually abused by her violin teacher. Known under the alias of Abigail, the student brought the case against the school after Wen Zhu Li repeatedly committed the offences against her in the late 1990s. Mr. Li had previously been charged with counts of rape and indecent assault in 2016. However, prosecutors could not provide sufficient evidence to warrant a sentencing. The student brought a civil case against the school in March, and after careful consideration, a ruling was made public this week. Mr. Justice Michael Fordman ruled in favour of Abigail and ordered the school to pay reparations of £45,000. A spokesperson for the Cheetham School of Music said in a statement that they expressed deep regret and sorrow for what happened to Abigail. They went on to say, "While nothing can ever undo what has happened in the past, our Cheetham's community today is determined to support survivors and work with safeguarding authorities in any way we can."
Gogglebox star and Manchester resident Tom Malone has been the victim of racial abuse after showing his support for the Black Lives Matter movement. Paolo Grunelli reports.
Gogglebox's Tom Malone has received racist abuse for a social media post related to the Black Lives Matter movement. Mr. Malone shared a picture of himself and his girlfriend at a protest, including the caption, "Black Lives Matter is not a trend." Following the post, the Gogglebox star received racist abuse directed at his partner, Bryony Briscoe. The couple have also received racist abuse on TikTok, with comments referencing slavery and using racial slurs. Mr. Malone has hit back at the trolls with further posts condemning the comments, stating, "Report it all, get it done, this is done, Black Lives Matter."
The government is investing over £400 million to boost rail services, including those coming through Manchester. As part of a government initiative, ministers have promised new stations and reliable, punctual services across the north. The majority of the money will be directed to the Trans-Pennine route from York to Manchester via Leeds. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps welcomed the boost in funding, saying that the money can create services passengers can count on. This comes as the government continues to introduce drastic reform for rail services. Last week, ministers announced a plan for a more integrated railway system, the biggest change to the system in 25 years. Coronation Street's Kim Marsh is presenting the annual Pride of Manchester Awards, celebrating Manchester's unsung heroes. G. Randall has more.
The most coveted award for lifetime achievements goes to 67-year-old Christine Burns. She is a transgender Mancunian who has worked tirelessly for decades to appeal legislation negatively impacting transgender people. She has also advised news organisations and TV bosses on how to portray and write trans people. A number of heroes have received the Emergency Services and Outstanding Bravery Award, including police officers and Metrolink staff who disarmed a man with a knife at Victoria Station. The award celebrates the 6 officers and station staff who contained the man and kept bystanders safe. The new category this year is the Marcus Rashford Children's Champion, and the winner already has an MBE for his dedication to helping children. Founder of the charity Engage, Christy Sperling helps teens at risk of slipping through social or educational gaps, working with schools and police to provide support and opportunities. Other categories include Young Fundraiser of the Year Award, Special Recognition Award, and Child of Courage Award. The Child of Courage Award this year goes to 9-year-old Mia Hignett, who successfully put her mum in the recovery position and cleared her airways during a seizure.
Thanks, G. Now to sports. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer admits it's been a disappointing end to the season after Manchester United lost the Europa League final to Villarreal in Gdansk. United lost 11-10 on penalties after it finished 1-1 after extra time, with United keeper David De Gea missing the vital spot kick after an intense shootout. It is the 4th successive season that United have ended without a trophy since they last won the Europa League under Jose Mourinho in 2017. Staying with United, star player Marcus Rashford said he received online racial abuse after the game, tweeting that he received up to 70 racial slurs. He finished adding, "For those working to make me feel any worse than I already do, good luck trying." A club spokesman said, "Everyone at Manchester United is disgusted by the online hate and abuse aimed at Marcus and other players." Manchester City are preparing for the biggest game in the club's history as they take on Chelsea in their first ever Champions League final in Porto on Saturday. It is the second All-English final in 3 seasons, with City aiming to become the 6th different English side to win the trophy. City boss Pep Guardiola is also aiming to win the trophy for a 3rd time and his first in 10 years. The trophy will also be an ideal parting gift for star striker Sergio Aguero, who is likely to play his final game for the club. And now for the weather. It will be drier and brighter this afternoon, with temperatures reaching 20 degrees. Over the bank holiday weekend, conditions will stay warm and pleasant, reaching highs of 23 degrees. However, it will turn unsettled into the middle of next week, with cloud building up, leading to some scattered showers. That's all for this week. Be sure to tune in next time and keep up to date with all your Manchester news at thenorthernquoted.org. I'm Lewis Oxley. This has been NQ Live. Thank you for listening and goodbye.